we're going to go to ISKCON, Japan. From Banu Maharaj in Kavichana Maharaj are the GBCs. So this was put together, but it's just short. It's only about 10 minutes. But each week we've been going to a different area of ISKCON. Prabhupada, when he was in... Okay, go ahead. I don't make you stand there. Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks. Prabhupada was in London the first time, and he was peppered by so many questions by the BBC. And Mukunda Maharaj was telling me, and he has so many questions, you know, as they always do, and usually not Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, but questions about so many. And of course, for, what was it, 200 years, something like that, India was a colony of England and exploited, sorely exploited. All the raw material that went into the factories in Manchester that made England, you know, wealthy, was all raw material that they raided from India. That's a whole other story. So they still had, you know, 70 Prabhupada went there, was something like that. They still had their colonial pride, and here's someone from India. First thing the guy asked, what have you come to teach us? Prabhupada said, I've come to teach what you forgot. You know, how to love. So, you know, but at the end of the thing, Mukunda Maharaj told me, when they finished up, Prabhupada said, now I have answered so many questions of yours. Now I have a question for you. So the man said, all right. Prabhupada said, they say that the sun never sets on the British Empire. Prabhupada said, then why does it never shine in London? Which immediately knocked the guy back on his heels. Then Prabhupada said, actually, the British lion, you know, that's like we've got Uncle Sam or whatever, they've got the British lion as their symbol. Prabhupada said, actually, the British lion is badly bandaged. You know, because what, they're just left with that little island, you know. Tagore said if they run, they're zipping around so fast in their cars, their island is so small, it's amazing they don't fall off the edges, you know. So, and when Prabhupada saw the Thames River, he said it's a stream. You know, if you've seen the Ganga, then, you know, it's this little thing, you know, whatever. Because Prabhupada had heard about it, you know, in his Scottish Churches College and how all the glories of the Thames River, but it's not that much. So I don't think we have any British listeners, so I hope I haven't offended anybody. But the point I wanted to make is that Prabhupada said that the sun never sets on the British Empire, then why does it never shine in London? Prabhupada said, actually, the sun, now the British lion is badly bandaged. They've lost all their colonies. When they lost India, the whole thing it just unraveled. Their whole colonial empire collapsed. And they admit it themselves, British historians. But the point is that the sun never sets on the British Empire. Now it barely shines in London. Prabhupada said, actually, the sun never sets on ISKCON. And so what we've been doing, I've been sharing with the devotees the different presentations by different members of our governing body of their activities around the world. It's been a lot of fun. So today, after class, we will go to Japan for a few minutes. And we need a clock. Where's our... Oh, it's right in front of my face. Okay. Hey, Govinda. Do the devotees here know that Vaikuntha Prabhu, ably assisted by his noble wife, his better half, Jahnavi, that Vaikuntha Prabhu is now in charge of our Hawaii temple? He's sharing it with Kusha. They take turns, but I don't want to... Vaikuntha is easily embarrassed because he's a humble Vaishnava, but he's doing a fantastic job. And the place has been moribund. You can look it up. It means asleep, somnolent for a long time. And but Prabhupada put a lot of energy into Hawaii. He visited there a number of times. He made many of the devotees. He would go on his morning walk. There'd be some hippie sleeping on the beach, poke him with his cane. So you're wasting your life. Come back to that. You would preach to them. Kausalya, what is her name? Jai Shri. So many nice devotees. Okay. So Vaikuntha Prabhu is doing a very responsible and valued service. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Don't make me feel like I'm pulling you. Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Jasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Chamunitira Vanatari Jamunitira Vanatari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balava Girivanadari Jasodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Chamunatira Vanatari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansi Pariva Jagacharya Siddhashish and His Divine Grace Abhijit and Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananda Koro Eshta Brinda Ki Nam Charshla Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Shikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakti Brinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Dwarka Dham Ki Navadip Dham Ki Jagannath-puri Dham Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Ganga Mai Ki Tulsi Maharani Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Sambhita Bhakti Vinda Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Sri Siddhara Kiridari Ki Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki Gopremanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Divine Lotus Sita Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Krishna Swadamo. A little bit of volume, just a little bit. Thanks. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dhammaganadi Bisaha Kalanasa Dishamesha Parano Kodadodita Narayana Namaskritchandanam Shaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet. The Bhagavatam is Brinda's son. He has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision through the dense darkness of the age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. Before beginning our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we should first offer respects to the personality of God Narayan, to the Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, the goddess of the Mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So assuming I've got my right spot in the universe, it is 6th canto, chapter 15, text 7? Yes. All righty. Dehena, Dehino, Rajan, Dehad, Deho, Bijayate, Bijad, Eva, Yata, Bijam, Dehe, Artha, Iva, Shashvata, Dehena, Dehino Rajan, Deha, Deho, Bijayate, Bija, Deva, Yata, Bijam, Dehartha, Iva, Shashvata, Dehena, Dehino Rajan, Deha, Deho, Bijayate, Bija, Deva, Yata, Bijam, Dehartha, Iva, Shasvataha, Dehino, Dehino, Dehena, Dehino Rajan, Deha, Deho, Bijayate, Bija, Deva, Yata, Bijam, Dehartha, Iva, Shasvataha, Dehena, Dehino Rajan, Deho, Deha, Bijayate, Dehartha, Iva, Shasvatam. Dehena, Dehino Rajan, got some strength. I want to get this to go up. No, you okay. It's got to go towards you. No, other way. There we go. Thank you. I got it. Go. Vaishnav. Vaishnavis. Dehena dehino rajan. Deha deho vijayate. Bijadeva yata bijam. Dehi arta iva shashvataha. Dehena dehino rajan. Deha deho bijayate. Bijadeva yata bijam. Deyata visasitam. Dehena, by the body. Dehina, of the father, possessing a material body. Rajan, O king. Dehat, from the body of the mother. Deha, another body. Abhijayate, takes birth. Bijat, from one seed. Eva, indeed. Yata, just as. Bijam, another seed. Dehi, a person who has accepted a material body. Arta, the material elements. Eva, like. Shashvataha, eternal. As from one seed, another seed is generated. O king, so from one body, the body of the father, through another body, the body of the mother, a third body is generated, the body of a son. As the elements of a material body are eternal, the living entity who appears through these material elements is also eternal. Also, you say, from one seed, another seed is generated. O king, so from one body, the body of the father, through another body, the body of the mother, a third body is generated, the body of a son. As the elements of the material body are eternal, the living entity who appears through these material elements is also eternal. Prabhupada's purport. From Bhagavad Gita, we understand that there are two energies, named the superior energy and the inferior energy. Inferior energy consists of 5 gross and 3 subtle material elements. The living entity, who represents the superior energy, appears in different types of body through these elements by the manipulation or supervision of the material energy. Actually, both the material and spiritual energies, matter and spirit, exist eternally as potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The potent entity is the Supreme Person. Since the spiritual energy, the living being, who is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, desires to enjoy this material world, the Lord gives him a chance to accept different types of bodies and enjoy or suffer in different material conditions. Factually, the spiritual energy, the living entity who desires to enjoy material things, is manipulated by the Supreme Lord. The so-called father and mother have nothing to do with the living entity. As a result of his own choice and karma, the living being takes up different bodies through the agency of so-called fathers and mothers. Om Gena Timirandasya Gyana Gena Salakaya Jakshushun Militan Gena Tazani Shri Gurave Namaha. So I was thinking a bit about this. Well, let's say it this way. Of course, you know this. Well, I'll say this first. Why does any of this matter? This is just armchair philosophy and the elements and this and that. And why? Because the Bhagavatam is creating a view for us, a vision. Everybody has a vision. Everybody has a way they see the world. You know, a lusty man goes out on the street and he wonders what every woman looks like undressed. He's looking. His eyes are seeing a certain thing. Somebody who's whatever it may be. People are. If you can look on Google Maps, it'll tell you where all the Mexican restaurants are. People are out there looking for Mexican restaurants. You know, somebody's looking for. Well, I need a gas station. So they're. In other words, through their eyes, they're hunting, and they're seeing a certain something. Some people, and from the way we see the world, then we have values. What's important? You know, if a house burns down, people lose, there's these floods, people lose everything, whatever happens. You know, one of the things that people miss the most, they regret that they didn't save or that they couldn't save and they lost it. It's not their jewelry. It's not their red Ferrari. It's not, you know, one of the things people miss the most? Photographs. Of course, maybe they're living in the past or dreaming for the future. But, materially, they're not an expensive item. But they miss photographs. So, what's valuable depends on the situation. It could be a man or it could be a wife. I'm not being gender specific or picking on anybody, so don't send me the emails. But, let's do it this way. The wife is a faithful, devoted wife, loves her husband. I saw this in an airport, right here at the San Diego airport. I was flying to Denver. And, the wife, she's got to get the kids. Who knows what time she got to bed. She's got to get the kids to school, and she's probably working herself, So she's, in a, what do you call it, a house dress or, whatever you call it, got her hair in curlers. Of course, they don't do that now. But, she hasn't made any makeup. She's just like getting her husband to the airport, And, then she's going to get back. She's busy. And she gives her husband a nice, loving kiss on the cheek. And it looks like a nice domestic scene. And she's driving home thinking, well, I got my husband. He's out there working hard for the family and great. And I swear to you, I was sitting in the airport. And then I saw the guy, as soon as the wife was out of distance, he took off his coat, zipped off his tie. Some girl, it was not his daughter or his sister, by the way they embraced. A torrid embrace and, off he was going on a vacation somewhere with his mistress. She thinks he's going to go work at, at Columbus, Ohio, which is a good place to be from. But the truth is, he's going to Tahiti. Be back in a week, honey. So, if she finds out, her whole world shakes. The whole thing changes. So things remain the same, and yet how we see them changes. You follow the point I'm trying to make? So here's the thing. We have Angira Muni and Narada Muni, and they're trying to wake up Maharshi Ketu, because the whole thing is a river of names only. They're building the wall, and right now I happen to be on one side of the wall, and I'm like, you can't get in here. My next life, I'm some guy trying to climb over that wall. The wall that I put in place. I'm trying to climb over it. So it depends, where are you born? What makes the difference of the thing? So, Bhagavatam, The living entity, as we all know, the wheel of samsara, it's like a giant merry-go-round. And sometimes you're riding on a horse. Yeah, I used to have a merry-go-round down here at, what is that place called? Seaport Village. And I used to take my kids when they were small. They would go down to the merry-go-round. I put them on the merry-go-round. I could chant japa and get something done. I have to wave at them every time they went around, and then they'd be happy. And it was the same thing, but I want to ride on the unicorn. Okay, I rode on the unicorn. Now I want to ride on the elephant. Now I want to ride on, and they go around 4 or 5. Fine by me. It gave me more time and peace and quiet, But it's the same ride. It's the same view. It's the same experience. But they're riding in a unicorn. They're riding on the elephant, and they're kids. I think, it's only. Yeah. But we are equally as foolish as it's being described here. We're going in this body or that body. Prabhupada in Shevet Hills, it's a famous event. Prajapati, you can hear him on the, who had that Shakespearean thespian voice. Prabhupada would usually get out of the park. Shevet Hills is right above the temple, in those hills above the temple, and you get a nice, well, if it's not smoggy, you get a view of LA. Prabhupada usually walked clockwise. This particular day, he walked counterclockwise. And you hear Prajapati say, I say, Srila Prabhupada, when we walk in the park in a different direction and see the objects from a different angle, it looks like a brand new park. And Prabhupada just starts to laugh. You hear Prabhupada laugh. When Prabhupada's just really laughing, Prabhupada said, this is material life. This is material life. It's the same thing. It's eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, but we see it from a little different angle, a little different body. We're sleeping on Park Avenue, or we're sleeping on the bench in Central Park. And we think one's better than the other, but once you sleep, it doesn't make any difference. My father was a good man, materially. And I remember I was on my way to India. He was in London on business. And we stayed in his hotel. So, I was a brahmachari. I was a householder in them, but, at least my body still functioned a little bit. So I just sleep on the floor, put a blanket on the floor, sleep on the floor. And he was sleeping in a big fancy bed. And, devotees, generally speaking, devotees don't have trouble sleeping, is my experience, I was out. But my father, he kept waking me up. He was, buy, sell, and tossing and turning. He was, a whole thing, So sometimes we're riding in this body, sometimes we're riding in that body, but it's the same thing. My point was that even I was sleeping on the floor, I was sleeping better than him in the fancy bed. So, but sometimes we're in Park Avenue apartments, sometimes we're homeless in the park. But it's the same thing. Who was it? Well, I'll say it. Nehru, who, was the leader of the developing nations, third world, scheming politician to how to play the second world, the communists, off the first world, the Western democracies, and find the third way, non-aligned nations, so he could squeeze as much out of everybody as possible. Do you know what he became in his next life, according to one of the top astrologers in India? In the embassy. A dog in the Swedish embassy. Because Prabhupada said he was still attached to politics. So he got to take birth in an embassy. But, he was a dog in the Swedish embassy. So, anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but the point is, because Angira, he just wanted to have a son who would carry on his lineage, his dynasty, and he was so depressed. And so when Narada Muni, was Angira Muni with him the first time? I think it was just Narada the first. But anyway, it doesn't matter. When Narada Muni appeared, he wanted to give him transcendental knowledge. But he couldn't hear. The king couldn't hear. Just like according to how we see the world. He was just too far. I want a son in my dynasty. So he got it. But You know the story. I don't think it's a spoiler because the boy's already died by this point. So one minute he's happy, the next minute he's lamenting, next minute he's got a dynasty, then it's on. And he's just riding on this machine, this merry-go-round around and around. And what is the use? And the capper, one of the things I love about this story is that they brought the boy back. You know? So does it have a happy ending? Actually, it does. But when the boy comes back, you can imagine, and it paints it's a very moving scene that the mother is embracing the boy and kissing his face, and the father is embracing him and just elated. Does it say how old the boy? I think that in the pictures, the boy looks like he's around 6 or 8 years old, something like that. 4 years old, and we could find out. But a young boy. Now, while they're all hugging and kissing and sobbing all over him, what does the boy say? He's a little disoriented. You can imagine, you've been snapped out of your body because you were poisoned. And then zing, you're on your way, before Yamaraj's court to your next body. All of a sudden, it's like, stop the film. Rewind it. Bam, you're back. Well, he's a little disoriented. So the boy says, I know I should be reciprocating. I should be, you save a dog out of a well and the dog is lapping and dancing. So I saved this boy, brought him back. He should be happy. And now he's seeing his mother, his father. Well, what does the boy say? Anyone know? Yeah, he's a little disoriented. He's saying that, I'm willing to play the game. But you just got to remind me, I've forgotten which set of parents. I've had so many parents. Which set are you? Just help me remember who I was and who you were, and then I'll play the role. But I have to admit, I'm a little disoriented from, being bounced around. So it's meant to sober us. If you're too close to something, there's a pattern. I'm trying to look at something that's got a pattern that's too close. I mean, this won't really do the job, but if you look right at these, you see squares. But if you step back, you see these, I think these are called cabbage. There's a name for these. Cabbage, whatever they are. It's a French word. But these little smaller squares, and you step back, and then if you're looking at a Persian rug and you're looking at it, you can't see anything. A hand-woven carpet. You step back and you say, oh, this is a flower, and that fits into a vase, and the vase, it's a garden scene. So, as you get to distance, you can see the pattern. So, what can they see here? They're trying to snap him out and give him Bhagavatam vision. That I've been in so many bodies, I've done all of this before, chewing the chewed. Okay, so I wanted to say that. The other thing I wanted to say is that just as a sidelight, I found this out the other day. Sometimes you get a racehorse. They're all jacked up. They're there chafing at the gate, as they say. They're all there at the gate. Ding, the gates, zoom, they take off. Right? They're knocking themselves out. They got some guy on their back kicking them, and shoo. Every now and then you get a horse that says, the bell goes off, the gate opens, and one of the horses just doesn't run. Just says, hey, forget it. Why? I'm running around a circle. I got this guy kicking me and whipping me, and I wind up in the same place. What do I get out of it? I get a bag of oats? Forget it. I'm going to get the oats anyway. I'm done. I'm done. And they say that once a horse flashes on that, you'll never get him to run again. They're done. They're done. It's not like a passing phase. They're done. You can use them for breeding, if it's a quality thoroughbred, but they're done as a racehorse because they say they've lost their spirit. They woke up. Said, forget it. So just like us, just wait. What? Body after body chasing the same things, and I can't take any of it with me. Why? I'm done. I'm done with it. So that's one of the messages of Bhagavatam. I wanted to say a little something He was talking about bodies and identities yesterday, and how these different identities are false ego. I'm thinking I'm a mother, I'm thinking I'm a father, I'm thinking I'm a brahmachari, I'm thinking I'm a temple president. And it's all driven by false ego, which means pride and a desire to enjoy. Now that's true. Prabhupada said, it's one of those golden statements by Srila Prabhupada, a symptom of intelligence is the ability to balance opposing points within the mind. It's a great sentence. Nuance, achinta beta beta tattva, inconceivably, simultaneously one in difference. That requires you to understand both concepts and understand the synthesis, the balance, how they interrelate, how they interplay. To balance opposing points within the mind is a sign of intelligence. So yes, on one hand, one can identities and thinking I'm a brahmachari, thinking I'm a grihasta, thinking I'm a, whatever it may be, that can be an entanglement. It can be a manifestation of ego. Usually is. Then why in the world does Krishna say, Chaturvana Mayashristam? Why does he say, I've created these 4 orders? Why do we have Varna and Ashram? Which Prabhupada, people don't like to talk about it. We say, well, we're all devotees, we're beyond it. What was Prabhupada's famous statement when the devotee said that we don't need to think about Varnashram because we're just engaged in pure devotional service? Anyone know what Prabhupada's counter to that was? Prabhupada said, then why are you falling down? Understanding one's identity, and with an identity can come false ego, can come pride, can come low self-esteem. So many things can come with it. But if seen through Vedic vision, thinking, oh, I'm a brahmachari. Well, what does that mean if you're a brahmachari? Duties come with it. I'm a sannyasi, trying to be a sannyasi. I can't fool around. I can't sit in the patio and chit-chat and gossip with some girl. Well, he says, I'm a sannyasi. Well, what is that? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was obviously, with Ramananda Roy, talking of the highest conjugal ras in the evenings with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, the highest, not just conjugal love, but parakiya, Vrindavan. But Prabhupada said he was a perfect sannyasi. He did his duty. Why? Janak, it says in Bhagavad Gita, was a completely self-realized soul. He's a Mahajan. But he did his duty. Anyone know why? Why does Krishna give us the steps and role? Those are roles and identities. There's, what is it, Narada Muni? What canto is it in? Narada Muni's talking about description of brahmachari life, description of householder life. I think it's 7th canto. Yeah, 7th canto Bhagavatam. Why does Narada Muni? Narada Muni in Vrindavan at Govardhan Hill takes a dip in Kusum Sarovar so it can be transformed into a gopi so he can see the Ras Leela. I'd call that pretty high realization. And yet, what is he speaking about in the 7th canto Bhagavatam? Why? Because those are steps. One simultaneously understands, I'm a Nitai Sarup Krishna Das. My eternal position is I'm a servant of Krishna. I'm not the enjoyer of this world. Fine. That's the default foundation. But the principle of Varnashram is that one also understands, okay, now it's like Prabhupada says, if you cut your finger too close, it's painful. You cut it the right distance, you don't feel it. I meant nail. I said finger? No. Cut the fingernail. Well, anyway, whatever. You don't feel it if you cut it the right distance. So the whole point of the human form of life is to become renounced. Sannyasis chant a mantra, and it goes like this. It is that let the sufferings of this world come, because they'll come. Can't stop them. Well, what is that? Am I just, an impersonalist, voidist, go with the flow. Why? Let the sufferings of this world come, because those sufferings create renunciation. One becomes detached. What is the use of the whole thing? Old age is fantastic. I mean, I don't want to go through it again, but it's absolutely fantastic. Everything's falling apart. Nothing works. Prabhupada's talking, he says, what's the time? Prabhupada says, I used to be quite handsome. Prabhupada says it. And if you look at the pictures of Prabhupada, I mean, he was handsome. He was a good-looking guy. So, Prabhupada said, now I'm ugly. Nobody likes me. I mean, everyone, we're completely off the track. We'll get back on it in a second. But Hari Sari said to Prabhupada one time, because he was watching Prabhupada move through the airport, and the counter person, and get the ticket taker and all the different, and Prabhupada's sitting there, and, people are asking, whoever the fellow passengers. And, Prabhupada just brought out the best in people. So, Hari Sari said to Prabhupada, everyone likes you. Prabhupada gave the reason why. You know why? Other than Dravida? Why everyone liked Prabhupada? Prabhupada said, because I like everyone. And people could just sense it, So, now I'm trying to think of where we were. So that's it. Thank you. Glad you're listening. That Prabhupada said, because somebody was, me, the Vedic system, everyone is meant to come to the point of renunciation. That was it. Let the sufferings of this world come. Why? Because they breed renunciation. Okay, is that the end of the line? No. What is the benefit? The verse the sannyasis chant says, that renunciation is the boat that will carry me across the ocean of birth and death to Krishna's lotus feet. So the whole Vedic system is designed so that people ultimately become renounced, like that horse. I'm done. I'm not doing it again. Oh, she looks pretty. No, you've done that 1,000 times, you idiot. Well, if I just had more money. Prabhupada said, death to a sannyasi is if once at someone's house, because you're preaching, you go and you think, oh, he has such a nice wife. I used to have a nice wife. That's death to a sannyasi. Or, if I just, crank up the old sense gratification machine, get on those silver singles, maybe I can find that nice wife, No. Or you think, oh, I used to have a nice house like this, If I just, No. What is the use? House means trouble. Anyone who's got a house, you got to clean it. Things are always breaking. Isn't it? You got to pay taxes on the thing. Forget it. It's a big burden. Huh? Millstone around the neck. And that assumes you've paid the mortgage off. That assumes you're the owner. What to speak if you're renting the thing? That really sucks. So, why? So, the whole Vedic system is designed to bring one at the point of renunciation. But one of the things I was so impressed reading the Bhagavad Gita and hearing from Srila Prabhupada, that here's a social system that recognizes the varieties and stations of life. Oh, just surrender to Jesus. Okay, zap. There used to be a commercial, and I forget it was for Ajax cleanser, and the guy just pointed, zap. Everything became, all of a sudden, all your clothes were clean, zap. Your bathtub was clean, So I accept Jesus, wham. Hey, no more narcissism. That was great, Or whatever it is, I go to take a dip in the Ganga, bam. It doesn't work like that. But the Varnashram, it knows the goal. The goal is to be completely renounced from all these illusions, and like that horse, I'm done. And not only am I done, but that's a negative, what's the positive? I'm the eternal servant of Krishna. Let Rishikesha Rishikena. Let me engage my senses in the service of Krishna. So someone who understands that, then you're free. So the Varnashram is just designed, if you're standing here, and okay, I'm standing here, this is 10 feet. My goal is 10 feet. Can I jump? I mean, even if I'm not, assuming I don't have Ajax Acme jet shoes and I don't have a pole vault, I'm just standing there. I don't know from how high, is that an Olympic sport? From no, there's pole vaulting. Is there how high you can just stand on the ground, how high you can jump? I think I'd have some momentum, isn't it? You can, what do they call that? You know, you run and then you jump, whatever that's called. There's different things. Yeah. So if I'm standing on the ground, therefore, in that little diversion we've confirmed, I'm standing here, I want to be here, it's 10 feet. Can I just jump? Boing. Pogo stick, it's not going to happen, right? But can I go from ground level to 10 feet? I say, can it be done? Let me ask you that. Yes or no? Yes. What? How? I just established you can't jump in one bound. How can it be done? Ladder. Ladder is good. I was looking for some stairs, steps, lift. I hadn't thought of lift. Escalator. I mean, we could spend some time on it. But the principle is you can go in increments. You can go here. Okay, then I can go here. Okay, then I can go here. So where is the social system that actually evolves isn't the right, transforms? Where is the social system that takes the jiva where he's at, where the living entity is at, and in a system of steps brings one to the point of renunciation and full love of Krishna? Show me another system that does that. There isn't another. But with Varnas, okay, when this is a student life, okay, this is married life. People love to be married. When they get, assuming it works out and they found their soulmate, and there's a lot of assumptions in that, But they have life together, get a house, pay off the mortgage, raise the kids, expand, get a bigger car, get a bigger house. People love to show it. We're not going to do Japan. We'll do that tomorrow or another day. Don't worry, I'm not going to keep you from breakfast. But the people, they love to show off their house. Young newlyweds, or they're young married couple. Oh, we got a new house. I mean, I remember in my householder days, I would, with my relatives, and then you're obliged to go to these things sometimes, Christmas, or I had about 4 or 5 times I had to show up. My parents' birthday. Sometimes we'd hold it, and they want to show you their house. I mean, okay, 3 bedrooms. They all look pretty much the same to me. Oh, here, look at the closet space. Oh, check out the bathroom. And look at the backyard. We got a swimming pool. Wow. But there's a certain position in your life when people like to accumulate. So be a devotee grihasta. Get your house and use your house for nice programs. Make your money. Grow your beautiful garden. We have perfect householders. And I don't want to just pick somebody and offend somebody else. But I'm thinking, look at Bhaktivatsal and Leela Shakti. Why are they growing roses at their house? Because they're thinking, for Radha Giridhari. He's growing some vegetables. Oh, Radha Giridhari. Why has he got a nice house? So he can take care of his kids, so they're peaceful, leave him alone, so he and his wife can get up at 3 o'clock in the morning or whenever and drive down here and dress Radha Giridhari. They're ideal householders. So the point is, there's stages in life. There's a time to be a student. Somebody asked Prabhupada, well, why are all your disciples so young? Prabhupada said, it's difficult to teach an old dog new tricks. It's a great answer, isn't it? It's a great answer. The guy was just stunned, Prabhupada said, all around, this is an example of foolish questions. Prabhupada said, all around the world, what age are students? You go to the universities, you go to the colleges. Are they all like 80 years old and they're there in walkers? They're young because the brain is elastic. It can, I can barely remember my phone number. You're a kid. It's easy. So there's a reason. So there's a time for student life. You're full of passion. The body, just biologically, the body's full of passion. Fine. Get married. Get married to a nice girl or a nice boy, a devotee. Build your life together. And support ISKCON, support the preachers. So the point is, identities in Krishna consciousness, in the Varnashram system, because they have no identity, they don't know what it means to be a Grihastha. They don't know what it means to be a student. They don't know there's a time. Varnaprastha means, you see those cars with the bumper? I went to the Grand Canyon. I went to Mammoth Falls. I saw the world's biggest ball of string. Whatever they're doing, they get a big camper and they take their house with them. But what it's really meant, that impulse is the same. That's my point. That impulse is the same. But in the right role, according to Varna and Ashrama, it becomes, rather than false ego bondage, that same impulse, molded through the Vedic system, Varnashram Dharma, becomes a cause of liberation, becomes the steps that bring us to pure love of Godhead. People, they're tired. They retired. What are they going to do? Watch game shows all day long? I mean, what are you going to do all day long? So they travel, But the Vedic system is you travel to the different holy places. And when you go to those holy, it's fun. People like to travel. You pack a picnic, you're on the truck, whatever. It's fun to travel. If you're healthy, it's fun to travel. See something different. So fine. Go to the Himalayas, see the great sages, take a dip in the holy rivers. But what also happens is you become a little bit renounced when you travel. You travel for a month, or you travel for 2 weeks. And then the next time you travel for 3 months. The next time, Mrs. Duveri, I don't think she'll mind me saying this. She travels more and more to India, One time she was gone for about 6 months. She came back. She said, actually, I didn't really want to come back. She said, I just missed Giridhari. She came back to see Radha Giridhari, Her kids were bummed out. They're standing there. She said, oh. She said, you only want me to come back and cook for you, I mean, she's a nice, she had it. She had it nailed, So one becomes gradually detached to the point that the wife, she's not attached to her house anymore and all the kids like Parvati and Dakshi. So that's the simple point I wanted to make, that, okay, on one hand, all these bodies and all these changes, and it's all a farce, and they're all false roles, and it has no purpose. But therapeutically treated, Narada Muni says, does not that thing therapeutically treated? Anyone know the rest other than Dravida? Anyone, and Balaram? Anyone know? And we'll end here. Does not that thing therapeutically treated become what? Become the cure of the self-same disease. So we don't want to write off thinking I'm a brahmachari, or thinking I'm a sannyasi, or thinking I'm a father, or thinking I'm a mother, or thinking I'm a grihastha. We do not want to write that off as, well, if you think like that and you identify with that role, it's just false ego. Yes, for the materialist that's true. But for one who has the foundation that my goal is to go back to Godhead, and I have anartas in my heart, and therefore if I can, at this stage of life, in this condition, if I follow the Vedic rules for this standard, I will make the step, and the next step, and the next step, and I'll become Krishna conscious. So those who write off Varnashram Dharma and the roles that it dictates do a great disservice to human society. There, I got it off my chest. Thank you very much, Prabhus. Hare Krishna.